In this country, mandatory buybacks are supported by a majority of Americans.
I also have proposed, with regard to ammunition, an increase in the excise tax on ammunition and guns up to 20%.
We've already decided as a society, consistent with our Constitution, within the boundaries of the Second Amendment, that there's a line.
Well, Democratic hopefuls taking the stage at a town hall on gun control, pushing their progressive agendas.
All right, here to react is nationally syndicated radio host Dana Lash. Dana, how many of these candidates have policies that resonate with you?
None. The majority, I don't know where they get their numbers from, and it's good to see you all this morning. They just make them up. I have no idea where they get these statistics from. I will say that the majority of Americans don't want Beto O'Rourke as president, so I think that's pretty much something that we can agree in terms of majority on. But nothing that they say is supported by a majority of the public. And I've seen some of the polling on this. I see the push polls. I've seen the way that they go about this, the small sample sizes, the oversampling. Look, the bottom line is that if any of these candidates are not seriously discussing the recidivism rate, if they're not talking about bad sentencing with regards to criminal justice, then they're not serious on this issue.
Joe Biden talked about the issue. He wants to create a national firearms registry. Listen to this.
Under the Firearms Act of 1934, there was a situation where when they outlawed machine guns, they said, okay, you can continue to have the machine gun if you own it, but guess what? You got to let us know you have one. You got to let us know you have one.
National Firearms Act.
You got it. I want that for all assault weapons. I want that for magazines, because what happens is if we know you have one, the likelihood of that ever being used in a commission of a crime after a voluntary buyback is highly unlikely. Highly unlikely.
Dana?
Yeah, well, what he's talking about is ultimately a repeal of the Second Amendment. He's talking about going after all semi-automatic firearms. There's no such thing as an assault weapon. You either have something that's semi-automatic or you'd have something that's select fire. You have full auto. I mean, there's a reason. These terms are incredibly important because this dictates what law comes into play, and it also is the difference between misdemeanors and felonies, too. It's very important that these candidates, if they want to show that they are as passionate about this issue as they claim to be, do more than virtue signal and demonstrate an understanding of the law that you want all of us to abide by. But he's talking about making every single thing an NFA item and making all magazines an NFA item. First off, you're talking about having lawyers involved and tax stamps and having to ask the government for permission, having a full list of everyone in the United States and everything that they own, what exactly that they own. And to be frank with you, I don't really trust the Democrat Party with people's names on lists after what we saw Castro do. It's ripe for intimidation. It's ripe for, I mean, quite frankly, suppression. I mean, let's look at the history of this country and why we have and the root of the Second Amendment. But to the bigger point, they're also talking about pricing out lower income individuals of being able to exercise their Second Amendment rights due to the fees involved with what they're discussing.
The best advocate for your point of view was Beto O'Rourke's extreme remarks from a few weeks ago. Even Democrats admitted they lost that argument. Dana Lash, thanks so much.
Thanks, Dana.
But all their plans are almost identical to his. I want to point that out. Don't let anyone mistake me. All of their plans are essentially identical to Beto O'Rourke's. This is the Democrat Party now.
Gotcha, Dana.